I live, although I still got some monster bags under my eyes. I am still pretty worn out. I got a lot of time to make up for trying to get some sleep, and I'm not sure I'm up to getting back over it yet. We've had a couple nights. We'll see how it goes in the future. Okay. Do 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 do. Yep. So I can't say that I'm back in the saddle completely, but I am slightly more functional than I was a few days ago. So up and running to a degree now. I'm not 100%, so I'm sort of taking a week off from much of anything. What's the week at now? So it's Friday here, Saturday through Friday would be a week. So starting tomorrow, no, starting Saturday, this coming Saturday, through to this coming a week from today, I will have 1 week left in the month of April. So I think I'm going to try to do some of my stuff. And I'll be like a week behind. So if I do Opportunity Forge video for this Sunday and this Monday, I will finish the month with establishing the Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday layout. So that's not bad. I'm not super far behind. I got to see if I can record a comedy special by the end of the month. And then I think we're pretty much on good standing at that point for trying to meet our goals. I have been debating how I'd want to go forward with reviews and creative prompts for this channel. There's a part of me that wants to do it sort of as a top-down craft style video. So like, would I do something like a character sketch for character designs, character prompts inspired by a work, map making, or something like that for a setting? So do a little bit of artwork inspired by some of that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I've also had the impulse lately on the brain to consider options of I've seen certain types of decorative creative artwork of characters from fiction that are basically these what is the word for it? Kawaii. It's meant to be cute, and it's basically these little ball-headed, starfish-bodied, pudgy little infantile-looking characters. When you think about it, it's like Hello Kitty or that kind of stuff. Only they make versions of it. It's sort of like the artwork for some video games. If you look at the characters for like Pokemon, on the original Pokemon, I almost said Pokemon Red. Pokemon Red screenshots of the character moving around the terrain. The character art is very pixelated because it's very simple, 6-bit or 8-bit or whatever it was at the time. But that style of character where the head is the biggest portion of the character and the body is almost just like a central piece with circles for hands and circles for feet off of this central piece. I have gotten some sleep. I've been moderately successful. Not greatly successful, but trying. I've been taking the magnesium and the melatonin and playing some sleep rest music. And I think the first night I took the magnesium and the melatonin, I kept waking up like I did before, but I was able to drift back off enough to be able to get most of a full night's sleep. Last night, I did kind of screw myself out of the better part of a night's sleep in that I got excited about creative projects and couldn't stop thinking about it when I went to bed. And that sort of brain in high gear, even when I drifted off to sleep, I kept waking up and struggling to go back to sleep because my brain kept wanting to pick some of that stuff up again. So I'm trying to be careful not to get myself too wound up before bed. But there's a certain amount of feeling bad that I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing or feeling like I'm enjoying. Because, I can't spend my whole day doing nothing. But I've gotten a couple nights of mostly a full night's sleep. I'm still pretty tired. You can probably still see the bags under my eyes. And I'm still a couple weeks behind on catching up to sleep. But I'm hopeful that as I go forward, I will be able to resolve enough of this that I will be able to continue with my projects till the end of the month. And then hopefully by the start of this coming month, be in a better position to start working on my stuff again. I've been looking at some of the things I want to try to do for like the Opportunity Forge stuff. The idea of doing some stuff on Shopify or Kindle Direct Publishing, low content books, or was it Shopify I was looking at? No, Redbubble was one of them. And we also looked at doing stuff on Teespring. And Teespring looks like it's going to be an opportunity to go forward with some interesting things. I'm still sort of trying to hash out in my head what makes the most sense for some of that. Because I'm going to try to do them as experiments that kind of show what you can do, not just imply. Because there are a lot of people out there who will tell you, you can make what was it? I saw one the other day that sort of rankled me a little bit, where it's like, you can make $1,000 a day or $10,000 a day or $2,000 a day by doing this, like print on demand stuff. And I'm like, all right, so like, how do we test that out? And what is the missing information that they're not telling you? Because in all probability, what they're getting for reaching those numbers is 5 years into doing this thing with a fan base and an audience base and a mailing list of at least 10,000 people, I can make $1,000 a day for 1 week, and then sales drop off again. It's one of those things, like, there's a lot of missing information from that. But there's a part of me is like, I'm kind of curious to see what that kind of stuff looks like, and what kind of things can I experiment with in that genre. I don't need it to make $1,000 a day. If it did, it would be interesting. But like, to make $1,000 in starting something like that up, and then for the rest of the year make maybe 230, that'd still be a good deal. But I want to really kind of show off what the real truth behind those kinds of things are. And that's my sort of hope, is to do that for... I don't know that I will do much in the realm of, I think it's called drop shipping. That seems sketchy to me. But I mean, I'm sure there are ways to do it legitimately. But drop shipping, at least my understanding of it so far, is listing things for sale on a site like eBay or Amazon. And then when somebody orders from you, you order from a supplier elsewhere and have it shipped to them, shipped to the person who ordered it, pocketing the money over what it cost you to order it from the person, the producer, or the source that you went to. And there's a lot of ways that can go wrong. My brain instantly thinks of the possibility of, like, oh, so you found a product for, I don't know, $3, and you list it up on Amazon for $8. Somebody orders it off of Amazon from you. You then go back to the site where you found it for $3 to find it's $10 now. Now you're losing money. This is essentially the GameStop's short sell coming back to bite you in the butt, done in buying merchandise format. There's also the possibility that they'll discontinue the item for sale at the place you found it for $3. So you can't buy it there. You have to go somewhere else and buy it for a different price. Maybe make no profit, maybe make a deficit off of the sale. And again, you're screwing yourself out of that. So that to me feels like a risky venture. And I will maybe do one exploration of it, but I'm not particularly inclined to give it a big shot. Just because there's an aspect of it that really disagrees with my mindset to begin with. And on top of it, there's a lot of risk. Like, there's a part of me, like, if I don't have it, I don't sell it. That's not my job. That is not something that I would ever feel comfortable pretending is my job. Now, I mean, there's something similar in affiliate marketing where you can sell other people's products because they'll pay you to sell it. In which case, that's missing the risk, but again, selling something that's not yours to sell. So for me, for something like that, I would have to very carefully screen for affiliate marketing situations on things that I have an interest in and see value of. So it would have to be a product that I would want one of, just like any other thing, just like sponsorships that you could do on a YouTube video or something like that. I'm more inclined to see what sort of things I can do with print on demand, digital books or ebook sales, maybe some affiliate marketing, some sponsorship, crowdfunding, those kinds of things I can see doing. but I would be a little more hesitant on the more risky. And that's not to say I won't do them. It's just being hyper aware of the fact that, that particular sector that's often touted as the way to make good money on a site, it's high risk but high reward. And the reason people see it as an option is they see the high reward, they're not paying attention to the high risk aspect of it. So I think I'm probably going to do at least a few simple runs on things like that and sort of get a survey, an interview of how that process works. And I don't think I will hold on to any of that kind of stuff very long. But there's a part of me that's sort of kind of like, I want to do that kind of stuff right now already. I'm kind of interested in pursuing and exploring that. But I also have to realize that some of this stuff I'm going to have to start soon because there's not going to be anything demonstratable until I've done it for a while. So I won't do something along the lines of like, I'll try one drop shipping sale. No, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do a 60-day try on drop shipping. But yeah, I mean, that feels big and risky is what it feels like to me. In the meantime, I'm going to spend the last week of the month here trying to get a channel trailer, maybe channel banner and channel logo up for Opportunity Forge. I need to finish working on the comedy, and I think those are the big ones I have to take care of this month. I also have to take care of my taxes. I still have to file my taxes this year. And then I'm thinking, I haven't given my notice at work. Well, I've sort of given my notice at work. I have said that I intend to leave. But I'm not sure anybody who is in the position to take my 2 weeks notice is available to take my 2 weeks notice. They've made it intensely hard to give them any kind of information. If I were going to stay with the company and I wanted to ask for a certain day off in the next couple of weeks, I don't think that message would ever get through to any of the employers at the head of the company. I don't think any of that would get passed on. And so, that's part of the reason why, I don't want to be there anymore, is you can't have this thing where I have things happening in my life that I need to address, and I don't have the ability to talk to the company about making sure I'm able to do that. If you're not in any position to make that possible, then you're not running a business that employees can work with. But that's beside the point. I sort of have it in my mind that I will give my notice this month at some point. So somewhere in the next week, I will try to file my notice. And that'll probably be 2 weeks after that when I'm done there. In the meantime, I will see if I can apply to a few other companies. But I'm thinking I may just leave when I'm done with this company and have a little time off while I apply to other locations. But we'll see how that goes. And I do think having a little bit of that time off might help me get back into a position where I can do uploads, not just live streams on this channel, edits and uploads to Roving Jack, and work on Opportunity Forge, and maybe even work towards some of those podcasts that we were talking about before. And I'm hoping that by the end of the year, I can have one or more of my created games for sale that I can do an ad campaign for on Facebook, or I guess I could do YouTube ads too if I really wanted to. And part of me has been thinking about the possibility of sending free copies of the game to certain YouTubers to review and explore if they want to. They don't have to, but it would be nice. And I'm not sure who to do that with. Like, there's a part of me, like, I could find some big gaming YouTubers if I really wanted to. But a part of me wants to support the medium to small YouTubers who do game stuff. Like board game stuff is what I'm really predominantly thinking of. And see if there are any of them out there who would take the opportunity to explore this new game. Because I think they would appreciate it more, honestly. Like, I'm not saying the game wouldn't be appreciated by players of any size. I'm just saying I like the idea of finding a small board game based YouTube channel, one who's probably never had any real attention land on them, and give them the chance to do a review of a product of a game from a game creator. Because they're never gonna, for many of them, they're not gonna get the chance to have a sponsor, and they're not gonna have a chance for free samples from companies or anything like that. There's a part of me that's like, I feel like that could make the day of somebody if we found the right people. And I kind of want to do it that way. So that's sort of on my mind. I'm also, part of me wanting to do some bigger creative projects. So like on this channel, one of the things I've been thinking about doing is doing the top-down look at. So I read a book. It generates. I can do a review for the book, and then I can generate ideas for characters or settings or things like that. And a part of me wants to do like character art, like use a basic figure structure and draw on that as I narrate over top of that what I think is an inspired character from that story. So like I take a character idea, and the idea it inspires for a new character for a new story, not in the same setting usually, but a character idea. There's a part of me like, could I draw some simple face or a figure or something like that for a character? And then what would I do for a setting? Maybe like a landscape scene, a map, or like a 3-point perspective city shot, stuff like that. So like a simple piece of artwork done probably in a time lapse or a sped up edit with a narration over top of it about the prompt itself. That would be fun. I think it would also be a little bit harder to do than simply just doing the art on my own time and taking a picture afterwards and doing a quick character prompt. And some of that depends on whether or not I'm going to stick with the idea of doing shorts. So I thought about doing shorts for this channel, but seeing how little traction they're getting on the other channel, I'm not sure it makes sense to do all of it in that format. Like the short reviews, I think are viable. The short prompts, I think it's going to depend on how worth it is, how much it resonates with anybody looking for prompts. And one of the things we're going to try doing with Opportunity Forge and probably this channel is using tags and keywords and seeing if that makes a difference in some of that as well. But I mean, even thinking about doing some creative artwork for some of this stuff has me feeling like I kind of want to get back into doing some of my creative works where, like, instead of just talking about the designs I'm working on for my big setting that I was doing for game design and writing in, if I started doing that talk over me drawing maps of portions of the setting or drawing individual characters to demonstrate concepts about character types in the story, I feel like that's not going to be something you can do short. That's got to be at least 10 minutes, even when you're time-lapsing or speeding through. And I think that may be where I start to go if I can get a feel for how to do that in a way, like to shoot it and edit it and put it together in a way that's not going to take 8 hours each video. And I think that's the big hurdle for me, because I want to best use my time between all my projects, because I'm doing these projects, all of them, learning to breathe fire and designing a game system and all these things because I love the things that I'm doing. But if it's going to take 8 times as long to do them, I won't be able to do as much of any of them if I'm having to do that, 8 hours for a 10-minute video every time that I want to do something. It would be much easier for me to just do those things and share the results of those things rather than try to do the process of taking everybody along step by step with me. I don't know. I'll have to really figure it out. I'm not sure what the best path forward on that is. And I guess it's just going to be trial and error and figuring out what works best for me and my style and go from there. I do know that a fair number of other YouTubers out there just shoot a butt ton of video and they hire somebody else to edit it for them. And I'm not sure I'm that kind of YouTuber. I don't know that I could do that. Maybe. I mean, I was trying to think about it the other day, to be honest. I was thinking about, like, when we get to a point with the Roving Jack channel where I've posted all the interviews and tours that I did there, and then it comes back around to just me working on projects, blacksmithing, that kind of thing, I might just do like a setup where I have 2 or 3 cameras giving me 2 or 3 different shots, set them all to recording, and then just work on my projects. And then when I'm done with my projects, I take all the video content that I recorded send it off to somebody to edit all together into a concise, workable format, give them a template that I want it worked on, that could do a lot to streamline my process so that we could upgrade the quality and the time invested in the project without sacrificing time that I can spend doing more projects. But I think we're a ways out from that kind of thing having to be worried about yet. But anyway, that's the stuff that's on my mind right now. I will be back on Sunday, I guess it is, right? And then we'll see how we're doing then, because like I've only had a couple days of trying to catch up on sleep at this point. And that's, it's one of those things where it depends on what you're doing. From what I've seen, they're like people who hire editors, they're not necessarily the top tier. It happens. I've seen a few people, and it happens in different fields at different times. So what you get for some of that is, I've seen a couple of reaction channels that are a couple months into doing reactions, and they've been smart enough about how they start it that they don't have to be big. They just have to have a certain number of like Patreon supporters or something like that can give them the budget that their once a week or twice a week videos can be edited. And it's like hiring somebody, a starting YouTuber or somebody else out there, like a college kid who's got some video experience, because you're not talking a huge amount of cost for it if you find basically an intern or somebody of that level who's willing to put a little bit of time in for, they might do 4 hours of editing at $15 an hour. Your total cost isn't going to be hugely exorbitant. I mean, you're talking $60 for a video, and that's something that if you have a certain number of Patreon supporters, so if you had 20 supporters on Patreon that would pay $3 a piece, or more likely you're going to have like five supporters who would pay $6 a piece. You're going to have, you're going to have a series of like tiers, and as you go through them, I can't do the math right now. I can't do math before I go to bed. It'll disrupt my ability to sleep. But if you had basically like 10% of your supporters are giving you enough to support 80% of the processing of it, and then you have another 10% that'll support 10% of the remaining workload, and then that last little bit of supporters can make ends meet enough that you break even on the cost per month to have somebody who can put in the hours to do some video editing. And a beginning video editor, if you give them a template to put it all to, like, it doesn't have to be anything big. You can get a $10 an hour video editor or a $5 hour video editor by just perusing Craigslist or some Facebook marketplaces. Because there are people out there who are looking to get their name known as somebody who can do that stuff so that they can move up. Because that's actually one of the things that you can look into doing, I can look into doing for Opportunity Forge, is the idea of you can make good money being an editor for somebody else's content. Like if you get known enough, you can move from, you will oftentimes start from almost doing it for free. Or, at a certain point you can do it as a per project basis. So I'll give you $20 to edit this video up for me. And it may take them 4 hours. So, $20 over 4 hours doesn't come out to the best hourly rate. You're not getting a minimum wage at that point. It's a per project cost. But at a certain point where you've got a body of work behind you saying, I was the main editor for 3 months over at this channel, people can see your work, and then you can say, I will do this job for you for, $20 an hour. $20 an hour is good pay rate for most jobs for a starting level. You can get to the point where you can charge $60 an hour for editing. You're going to want to have stuff streamlined so that you can have a sort of template you can run that through. So you can, in that case, what you're looking for is potentially switching back to a per project basis. So if you work on a project to a degree where you can have a sort of a set of templates that you can do. So somebody's doing a tinkering video and they're going to send you 2 camera views for each shot that you can switch between. And you can feed that stuff basically into a tinkering video template, one of 5 or 6 tinkering video templates. Then you could probably cut your work time down from 6 hours to 2 hours for a given project. Pass that project back out, and instead of charging an hourly rate, you charge a per project rate of $600 or something like that for a high-end video editing project. Then you can make good money that way. $600 over 2 hours is achievable pay rate from some of the things I've seen. But that's not where most of the editing you're going to find gets started at. And, having channels to start with, like my channels, if I wanted to say, okay, let's just devote a couple months to doing high-end editing work on my videos, build a couple templates that I can do stuff on. Then when I get to a point where I have a body of work that I can demonstrate my editing skills on, I can send those out to people and say, like, I can edit some videos for you if you want. You let me know. This is my rate, and I can start charging for that rate. And then at a certain point, I get a body of work on more than one channel that I can refer people to, and I can get higher end sales on video editing. What you're usually marking for at that point is looking for like businesses that are looking for like Facebook video content or social media marketing videos. You're not really shooting for a YouTube channel at that point. But that's just a theory, a YouTube theory. No, I can't do that. But no, that's just that's some of the possibilities. Now, how much of that bears fruit in the trial period, I think that's going to be something that I can maybe explore on Opportunity Forge. Because, what are the odds that I can find a cheap video editor that I can bring on board? How much does that save me in time versus how much does it cost me? And where is the point where the cost is justified in your channel? Those are kinds of things that I want to explore at a certain point. All right, so we're about 40 minutes in. I'm going to call it here tonight. I will catch you on Sunday. Hopefully I'll have gotten more sleep behind me and feel a little bit more secure in the idea that I'm now maybe out of the woods, out of this garbage that I've had to deal with lately, and be in a position to get back on the saddle. For now, take care and good night. Hopefully your channel gets up and running soon too. I'd like to see what you're doing.